Yes. Okay. Yes, swivel's happening in our class. I want you to get this definition down. There's a lot to it. Today we're talking about the slope of a line. We've been drawing lines and looking at lines and describing lines with words, but we're really not always on the same page because when I think of a line, if I see a line that looks something like this, I think, oh, that's pretty steep. But some of you are thinking, that's not steep. This is steep. And then others of you are saying, well, I think that was steep enough. We're using words and we're using what we call subjective words. That means what is steep to you may not be steep to me. So how do we get on the same page and say, yep, that's a steep graph, that's a steep line, that's not a steep line. We're going to use slope to describe that. All right, there's a lot to get down here, so let me kind of go through it piece by piece. When you use the word slope in math, you're going to use the letter M. Okay, that letter M stands for slope. We're talking about non-vertical lines. Does anyone know what that word non-vertical means? What does it mean by non-vertical? So I'll ask you questions, you answer back. That's great. Yep.
Vertical is like up, it's like straight up.
Straight up and
so
down?
If it's not vertical, then it's not like
okay,
straight up and down.
So we're talking about all lines except this one right here. We don't want to deal with this line.
What about that?
It's still vertical.
Yes, because it's not just.
No. This is going up and down. So it's still vertical. Non-vertical lines, what we're talking about. Okay, how many of you heard the word ratio before? The word ratio, you should have heard it. And when you hear the word ratio, a lot of people are like, oh man, ratios, we got to deal with that. Guys, a ratio is simply this. It's a comparison of two numbers. Two numbers. Okay, so I did this in the other class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 girls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, wow. Almost the same as that. One off. There are 9 boys. So we would say the ratio of boys to girls is 9 to 10. That's all we're saying. That's a ratio, okay? So we're talking about a comparison of two numbers. What are the two numbers? The first one, the vertical change. The vertical change. What's another way of saying that? The rise. And you're going to get used to what I mean by rise, hopefully during this lesson. The second number we're comparing is its horizontal change, which we call, I know it's hard to see, the run. R-U-N, the run. We're comparing rise and we're comparing run. Okay, let's see if you guys can get this down. Ready? This is rise, up and down. Does that make sense? Rising is up and down. You could rise in a positive way or you can rise in a negative way. The run, therefore, will be the horizontal change, okay? So run, left and right, okay? Can you guys do this? Show me the rise. Judo chop a little bit. Show me the run. Okay, good. That's what we're talking about. So we're going to compare the rise and we're going to compare the run, okay? And that's going to give me the whole point of this lesson, M, which is your slope. Okay, anyone still need this up there?
I do.
Okay. Go ahead. You may continue writing. Okay. How many of you have gone either skiing or snowboarding somewhere? Anywhere? Okay. How about sledding?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good. I grew up in California. We did not have snow, so sledding was like what you see in the movies and on TV. But when I came to Colorado and then came out here, you could do a little bit more of that when it snows. But when you look at a hill, right? You look at a hill with a little bit of snow or even ice, and you're like, oh, that hill is steep enough. That's going to be a good sledding hill, right? You kind of look at another hill and you're like, yeah, if someone pushes me and doesn't slip, that might be okay. But man, that's a nice steep one. So we're talking about slope in that same way. Steepness, very steep, not so steep, okay? But like I told you guys, this may be steep to somebody, and to others, that's really steep. Please don't make me go down that hill. We're subjectively describing it. Let's get it with some actual numbers. Okay, go ahead and write this down again. I'm going to give you this long equation with a lot of stuff on it. Please don't get lost. Okay, the slope we said is a comparison. It's a ratio. And here's how I want you to write the ratio. It's the rise compared to the run. Remember, a ratio could be written as a fraction. Like in this class, it was 9 boys, 10 girls, 9/10. Or you could say boys to total students, 9 out of 19, right? It's a fraction. So in this case, it's your rise over your run. And you're like, what does that mean? The rise stands for the vertical. And then I think you guys are ready for the symbol. It's a new symbol you may have not seen before. Vertical delta. Vertical change. Delta is a Greek letter. In math, it stands for change. Change in something. Vertical change. The run stands for the horizontal change. Okay, the horizontal change. Delta, little triangle there. The Greek letter delta actually comes from the Nile Delta, the Nile River's delta, and it's shaped like a little triangle. That's how you got that letter delta. And for us, we use it as a change in something. You're going to see that in math and science, by the way. So I might as well expose it to you. Expose it here in this class right now. That says vertical change, and that says horizontal change. And that's an equal sign. That's rise or run. That's another equal sign. That's M in parentheses, and that's slope. Last thing I wanted you to get, and then I'll give you time for a question. Last part. So this is continued here. This is the hardest part. This gets a lot of students, especially the first time they see it. They're like, huh? What? Is that a 2? Where's that 2? Should 2 be bigger? Nope. It's in the right spot. It should be that small. Okay.
Is that a comma or a Y?
Comma.
Huh? That's a 1. That's a 1.
A 1. Yeah.
I was like,
It's okay.
I meant 1, not Y.
Okay, hold on. Let me read this to you so you guys know how to say it, and then we're going to say it together so I know that you know how to say it. You would read this y sub 2. It's a subscript, something written underneath the letter or below the letter, minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. All right, everyone say that with me. Y
sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1.
Good. Now you're like, that seems pretty unnecessary. Well, I'll show you why it's necessary in a bit, and then how you actually use that little formula, but that's going to be a pretty big key to this lesson. Any questions? Okay. All right, we'll go, Stella, real quick.
It's a little triangles. This is what my triangles are.
Delta,
Delta.
Greek letter.
But can you
You can write change.
do you write vertical and then the triangle, or can you just write the triangle over the triangle?
Oh, good. You need to write vertical triangle, horizontal triangle. Yes.
And you have to write the delta.
You don't have to. You could actually say vertical change, horizontal change, but that's not cool. Okay, Sammy.
Can we move swivel over there?
How about I move him over here?
That does not help. Wait.
Now?
It helps a little.
Okay, you're welcome. Yes, Aiden.
The ultimate way to sled is being pulled behind a car. It's really fun.
I will pretend I didn't hear that. Okay, yes, Mary Addison.
How Y does aren't above the Y?
Yes. Okay. Can I give you it right here? When you put the 2 above, it's an exponent, so it'd be y squared, y to the first. That's not what we're talking about.
But with that, are you dividing?
Good question. I'll show you why. Wait. Did I say that out loud? Yes.
So you said okay, so
I said it.
if the
Oh.
girls, okay,
Oh, yes.
does it matter, if the girls are the rise or the boys are the rise?
Oh, okay.
Or, does it matter which one's vertical and which one's horizontal?
When I use the girls to guys example, I was just saying if we're comparing girls to guys, the girls are up top, the guys are below. Or if I said boys to girls, boys up top, girls on the bottom. So it depends on what I say I'm doing. In this case, I'm always saying rise over run. So you always put the vertical change over the horizontal
Yeah,
change.
but how do you know, like, which one's the vertical and which one's...
Oh, we'll get to that. Yeah, we're going to see which one's which. Stella, back there.
What does the slope and then end mean?
That's slope. The steepness of a line is represented with the letter M. That's all we're saying there. Yep, Jimbo?
What subscripts are they? Do they have any relation to exponents?
No, not necessarily. But that's a good question because the exponents are called superscripts above, and subscripts are written like that below. Yes, last one.
Does this have to do anything with like the coordinate plane?
Yes. Next page here. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give you a graph, a coordinate plane. So go ahead and reproduce this here. Go 4 out every direction. We're going to see what this even means for us. Because so far we've just written a bunch of words and a few symbols that I've never seen before. So how are we going to use them to figure out the slope, the steepness of a line? And we're going to tie in the previous 3 lessons to this lesson, which is really cool because that's the point of math is it builds upon itself. All right, I want you to put 2 points on that line. The first point I would like you to put up there is -3, -1. Can you guys put there? -3, -1. We're just coming up with an example here. -3, -1. So -3, -1 right there. And label it here, -3, -1. We're going to need the labeling here in particular. And then the second point I want you to put up there is 0, 1. 0, 1. 0, 1. That's right here. And label that 0, 1. All right.
Wait, I thought it was. Oh, it's up 0. Okay.
Yeah, you go left and right nowhere because it's a 0, but then you go up 1 because of that y value. All right, go ahead and connect them to form a line. By the way, how many points do you need to draw a line? 2. If you only had 1 point, that's all you have is a point. If you have 2 or more points, you could connect them to form a line. So here we have our 2 points. Okay, great. Looking at this little line right here, review of 6-3, positive or negative or no correlation. Raise your hand. Camille, I see that hand.
Positive.
It's positive. From left to right, what is it doing? It's going up. So that's a positive correlation. So I hope you guys remember that. It still applies here. And by the way, it'll help check your answers to see if you're right or wrong. Some of you, if you didn't see if it was positive or negative correlation, you're like, why did I get it wrong? It says it right there. Where? Right here? Sorry, right there. Okay,
Where?
Are you pointing at?
you'll
What are
see
you
it.
pointing at?
All of you. Some of you. A few of you.
Pointing at me.
Yes, I was pointing at you. Hold the question because we're still going to work through this. All right. I want to find the slope. I want to find the m value. That's when I use the letter m, I'm talking about slope. Okay. In order to find slope, I'm going to use a little formula, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, so you've seen that before. It's not new. Okay. Someone asked me the question like, what's the point of the sub 2, sub 1? Why did they even do that? Okay, look at this graph right here. Look at there are 2 points. Okay, this is an x value, isn't it? So is that. There are 2 x values. I want to distinguish them by calling one of them x1 and the other one x2. Because if I say, give me the x value, you're like, which one? The first one. Oh, okay. The second one. Oh, gotcha. So, yeah, you're reading left to right, but I'm going to do something cool with it. Okay, so now y, the first y is here and the second y is over here. Right? So just label them here for now. Watch what happens. Okay, do you guys understand that ordered pairs have an x and y value? An x and y value. So the first x and the first y are right here, and the second x and the second y are right here. Okay, that's all we're saying. Because if I just said, give me the x value, you're like, which one does he want? Give me the x sub 1 value. Right here? Okay, good. All right, I hope you guys get that a little bit. All right, now when I work this problem out, it's actually not hard if you work it out this way because your signs get mixed up and you throw everything off if you go too quick. Instead of those variables, those 4 variables, I put 4 sets of parentheses like so. Okay, you notice instead of y sub 2, I put a parenthesis. Instead of y sub 1, parenthesis. Don't forget the subtraction. That didn't go away. Okay. Aiden, according to my graph and all the info on there, what's my y sub 2 value?
Y sub 2 value should be 1.
1. So I put 1 in there. Okay? Henry, according to that info over there, what's my y sub 1 value?
-1.
-1. I put that in there. Just fill in the blank. Okay, Tyler, what's my x sub 2 value?
The x sub 2 is 0.
0. I put that in there. And what's the x sub 1, Cole?
-3.
-3. All right, you guys see that's where I put all the numbers, and if I didn't label them, at least in my head, I'm mixing things up. I'm getting confused. All right, ready? Here's the math part. What is 1 minus -1?
14. 0.
It's really 1 plus 1, which is 2. What is 0 minus -3?
3.
3.
No, oh, yeah, I have that.
Okay. It was a joke, I'm hoping.
Yes, it was.
We all
I thought you were serious.
All right, I get 2/3, right?
That's the answer?
That's my slope.
Oh, that's so
Now listen to me. Here's where it's gonna put. We're gonna put it together. Are you guys okay with the numbers being 2/3, like 2/3, like mathematically 2/3? Great.
Yes.
Do you remember we said this graph was a positive correlation?
Yes.
Positive slope. They match up every single time. But now watch this. Watch this. Please pay attention. I'm going to start at this point. Ready? I want to find another point. So the top number gives me my vertical change, up 2. My bottom number gives me my horizontal change, positive 3.
Oh my god.
Now wait for it because it's not over. Starting from this point, if I go up 2 and then
Oh my goodness.
What if you do
This
it
is
the
like
other way?
sci-fi.
okay, now listen. It gets better, guys, because I told you that the 2/3 was a ratio. It's a comparison of two numbers. Are you okay with saying that 2/3 is also 4/6?
Yes.
Starting with this point. 1, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Whoa!
Okay. Now, guys, if you thought that's like, oh, well, that so happens to be, watch this. I forgot all that I did here. And Mr. A doesn't know how to count. So this is what happened. Mr. A made a big mistake.
Made a weird dot square.
I said this was x sub 2 and y sub 2, and that's x sub 1, y sub 1. Because, guys, you can look at it from left to right or right to left and watch what happens. Okay, so watch me work this problem out again. I just mixed up the points, maybe. I don't know. I hope. All right. Everyone looking up here. According to this info that is up here, Madison, what is y sub 2? -1. What's y sub 1, Dalen?
1.
What's x sub 2, Chris?
Wait, what?
X sub 2? So looking up here, what's x sub 2? Which number?
X sub 1.
Shh, that's only one person talking. That's okay. What's the x sub 2 number? It's -3. Mary Addison, what's x sub 1?
X sub 1 is 0.
Okay, do you guys see where I put the numbers?
Yes.
I put it correctly, I hope. What's -1 minus 1?
-2.
Oh.
1.
zero.
It's
zero.
Sorry, that's the opposite of what I got last time.
3.
What's negative 3 minus 0?
Negative 3.
Oh man, this is totally.
But the positive.
What's a negative divided by a negative?
Positive.
Same value. That's not a. Positive 2/3. It has to work. It has to work.
Wait, that's like sci-fi.
Negative divided by a negative, or negative over a negative is positive. Just from our rules.
I wonder. Only do the myself.
Now, if this ratio is correct, I'm always going to get positive 2/3. And is this a positive correlation?
Yes.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter which point you pick first. It's got to be a positive 2/3.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, so hold it, guys. Sorry. Hold on.
Try to comment
Try
on
it
that
and you
question.
don't get it.
Let's do it again.
That was good.
Thank you.
Go 4 out again. We'll do another graph, 4 out. Get you some practice on this just to get you your understanding of why we use subscripts and how in the world we get slope. Okay, here are your 2 points this time. Excuse me, negative 3, positive 1. Negative 3, positive 1. Negative 3, positive 1 right here. Label it. And the second point I'll give you is positive 3, negative 1. And label that. Connect those points.
Connect them.
And you have a line. My slope, is it going to be positive or negative? It has to be negative. In fact, you can check yourself. You're like, if you don't get a negative value, it's wrong. Like automatically, you know it's wrong. Like, how do you know it's wrong? It's got to be negative. It's a negative correlation. Okay, but let's see how we get that value. So to find the slope, you y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And you find out what those values are. All of us, if we do it correctly, get the same exact number, if we did it correctly. And the same sign, because that matters. Yeah?
So do we have to write like the...
You don't have to write this over and over again. No. This is what you should write every time.
Okay.
Yeah, you start off with this, and then you find out the numbers, and then simplify if you need to. Okay, but what is x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2? It doesn't matter. You just make sure you're consistent. So, Dalen, do you want this to be the first point or that to be the first point? All right, so we'll make this x sub 1, y sub 1, and then we'll make this x sub 2, y sub 2. The same point has to have sub 1s. The same point has to have sub 2s. You can't have x sub 1, y sub 2. And x sub 1, or x sub 2, y sub 1. You can't mix those up, but you can say these are both 1s, those are both 2s.
What would have happened if you did?
You get a wrong slope. It's not the same, and it's not accurate. Okay, Henry, what is y sub 2 according to this?
Y sub 2 is negative 1.
Reese, what's y sub 1 according to that?
Oh, 1.
1.
14.
Jimbo, what is x sub 2?
X sub 2 is 3.
3. And what is x sub 1, Matthew?
Sub 1 is
Negative 3. All right, we got our numbers where they belong, so here's the math. Negative 1 minus 1.
Negative.
Caden.
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Second piece of the math. 3 minus negative 3. Chris?
negative 6.
Close. It's actually 3 plus 3. It's just positive 6. That's okay, positive 6. But I can reduce that. Negative 1/3. Is it negative? I hope so.
Wait, what? I did this wrong.
That's okay.
Oh,
It's gotta be.
Yep, I know what I did.
It's gotta be. Yeah, good. It's gotta be negative, no matter what. But I'm gonna test this out.
So, I had incredible revelation just now.
Oh my.
I figured out that if you multiply both of those numbers, 3 and 1, it'll get you a negative number, and it's the same on the other side. But if it was a positive correlation, like the one that we did previously, then it would be a positive number on both of them.
No, yes, there is some relationship there, which is good. Good job, Jimbo. Here's what I would say. Look, and I'll get your question in just a moment. All right, look at my x value from here to here. What did x do from here to here? Look at the value. Did it go up or down? It went up, right? So it went up. What happened to the y value? It went down. What kind of relation is that? Negative, right?
And if you connected your thumbs, it would be negative.
Wait, but actually,
Yes.
Wait, because positive and negative become a negative.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
wait,
cool with
I
me.
don't get how that works. Because if they're both negative,
If they're both negative, it's a negative divided by a negative, which is positive. I know that's weird, but it is. All right, ready, guys? Let's see here. I'm going to go down 2 over 6 to the right. How many of you agree that negative 1/3 can also be negative 10/30ths?
Yep.
Negative 100 300ths?
Yep.
yeah, but the
Negative
how does that work with that thing?
Ready? I'm going to give someone a question that's pretty tough. See if they can handle it. Audrey, ready for this? Okay, negative 1/3 can also be negative 1/3 over 1. Is that acceptable? Okay, yes, it's weird and it doesn't look nice, but it's acceptable. So in this fraction, what's your rise? What's the rise value?
Negative 1.
What's your run value?
1.
Okay, ready? So starting right here, my rise is not up 1/3, it's down 1/3. So down 1/3 would be like right here somewhere, right? And what's my run? Positive 1, which is right here.
Oh my.
So you see how it fits? Fits
What
that
about
graph.
you
It
were
will
trying to
always.
find the other point. How would you find the other point?
The other point?
Like you were talking about, like how
Oh, I went down 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went down 2 and over 6, which equals negative 1/3. So any way I do it, I can find it that way.
Oh boy.
Which don't worry about doing it like that
yet. You
yet.
would use 1/3 to find the difference.
Oh, down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, and I'll find that point. So you just do it twice. Yeah. You'll get used to it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Katie.
Okay, so
Guys, I'm not answering the same questions, and I'm not holding back on homework from those who want more because they're just talking, thinking, oh, this is easy. I don't need to listen. Yep.
so say I just left the answer as negative 2, 6.
Uh-huh.
Would it count as wrong?
Yes, I want you to reduce them.
Okay.
You always want to make it as simple as possible.
And
Yep.
oh, never mind. I already know the person.
Okay, that's cool. Yep.
I don't understand. I thought you said it was always going to be, like, it has to be negative 1/3. And if you do it, aren't they, like, both negative? So you have to, like, I don't know. I tried it. I did, like, negative 1 and then negative 3, but it doesn't.
Oh, yeah. Negative 1, negative 3 is not. Negative 1 over negative 3 is not the same as negative 1/3. Because what's a negative over negative? So that's not that.
What do you do? I'm just really.
Yeah, that's okay. We're just trying to describe it, and then we'll get to that part where we're like, we could do this. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and write these down if you're listening. Go.
I don't really understand the whole uppy,
Neither do I. But
uppy downy thingy.
rise over run.
Yeah, I know what.
Oh, see, you do know it. Okay, moving on.
I know what it is. I just
Oh.
don't know like I get confused. Like the negative 2 over 6. I mean, I can
Reduce.
put it into negative 1/3, and
Good.
then I know that the thing's negative because the answer's negative. That's true. Yeah, since the answer's negative, the problem's negative. Like the
If the graph is a negative correlation, it's a negative answer.
okay.
Yeah.
And so would you start at one point and then you go up 1 and then over 3, and that gets you to the other point?
Eventually, yeah. Can I show you on this one?
Sure.
Cool. All right. I'm not giving you a graph, and I don't want you to draw me a graph on this problem. You have to give me the slope without the graph.
Okay.
Oh,
Wait a
Wait,
minute.
it actually
Slip out the graph.
No, it's actually really easy. Just over with.
Let me give you a hint.
Oh, I already got it. I know what you're saying. Wait, no, it's
That's the hint. Use that.
Oh.
Right? Shouldn't you just use that? I'll get your slope. You pick.
Wait, is
You
this gonna be
pick.
on our homework where we don't get to do it as a graph?
Some will be graphs, some will not be graphs.
Can you just like
Get a
secretly
bigger,
do a
what if you
graph?
get a mixed number?
No, try it without. Watch. It's not that
What
bad.
if you get a mixed number?
No, leave it as an improper fraction if you do mixed number. But watch. Which one's my first point? Tyler, you pick.
The second one.
Okay, cool. This is x sub 1, that's y sub 1. And that's x sub 2, y sub 2.
Wait,
Right? You can say that.
no.
Yeah, you could say
Some of you did x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. Good. That's fine. But you can switch them up.
Dude, I thought you said you.
You can't do this. You can't say x sub 1, y sub 2. That's bad. That messes everything up. But you can switch those around because it doesn't matter which point is first.
yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't matter? I did it.
So you just put the numbers where they belong. Who can give me all the numbers where they belong? Jimbo.
The numbers according to,
Yeah, according to this. How about this? Yeah.
all right,
And I'll just go left to right.
1 minus 2 over negative 3 minus 5.
That's it. So y sub 2, y sub 1, x sub 2, x sub 1. All right, what's 1 minus 2?
-1,
What's negative 3 minus 5?
-8,
How do you make that simpler?
1/8.
Positive 1/8.
Wait, I did it backwards.
You still got
Like, I got
Positive 8.
Oh, you put the x's up top. You got to put the x's down low.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah. Always put the y's up top, x's on the bottom. Because it's always the rise over the run. Now, listen, if you're like, that doesn't make sense, think of it, guys. Ready? Your y-axis is the vertical axis. What's rise referring to?
You rise up
Rise up and down.
and then you run.
And you
this
run
way.
left to
You
right.
run up, then
So rise over rise. Tell me about it. Okay, Sammy. Did we graph it? Okay, but listen, I'm going to ask Sammy a very important question, and I need an answer, and it has to be correct. No pressure. I don't have the graph. I don't have the line. I don't know what it looks like. Some of you may be able to picture it. Some of you may not. But Sammy, this has a positive, a negative, or no correlation. Go.
It has a positive.
Positive is correct. It has it has to go up. It has to go up. Right? Up, one, over. It has to
Whatever
go up.
answer you get, it's a positive or negative.
But what if it's
What if
no
it's no
correlation?
correlation?
What would it look like if it was no correlation?
Huh.
Well, it isn't.
Why did we ask that again?
All right, do this last one. We may have time for more, but definitely do this one. -1, 4, and 2, 4.
with the graph.
No graph. Okay, questions on those? Anyone had a question before? Yes.
I put y on the top
Uh-huh.
and x on the bottom,
Good.
but I still got -3 on the top. Like, I did it backwards, but I. Like,
So you did for that y. Did you do 2 minus 1? 2 minus 1?
I got. I don't know what I did.
You could have either done 2 minus 1 or 1 minus 2.
Oh, I put 2 as x.
2 is a y value. Because you see, you have your x and your y.
Okay, no.
Yeah, so maybe you mix them up. It's okay. Yep.
So you can get the answer. What I did for this one, instead of putting it into that, I just like
I got 0.
Yes, that's fine.
I found the difference between them,
did it like opposite.
and then just like pushed it.
How about this, Tyler?
I'm so
You found the difference between them,
I'm so confused.
and you found the difference.
So
Oh, so you flipped them.
yeah, 0.
That's what you're finding the difference between two numbers. But if you get it wrong, let's say you got that one, and I didn't see what work you had, I had to count it all wrong.
Okay.
So be careful with that. I don't want you to miss all the points for that. Okay,
I'm so confused. Okay.
we're not done.
Confused for a second.
That's okay. That's okay. All right, ready, guys? I'm assuming most of you did this. I do this, by the way. I just do the first and the second. Like, I don't want to make it too confusing, so I just x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2. All right. So then I have my slope is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. All right. So what's y sub 2?
4.
Y sub 1?
4.
X sub 2?
2.
X sub 1?
-1.
All right, what's 4 minus 4?
0.
What is 2 minus -1?
3.
Which is actually just
Which means no correlation.
no correlation. That's your no correlation, but how does that actually look? Here's how it looks. Okay, so mathematically you got that number. I'm just going to sketch something out for you. You could do it too if you want. I'm going to go up 4 and just like over 2 in every direction. The other left to right. Okay, where would -1, 4 go? -1, positive 4. That'd go right here. Where would 2, 4 go? Over 2, up 4.
Oh,
Okay, now what kind of line is that? It's a, okay, they're all straight, remember? Hold on, we still have time. Do not pack up and leave. It's a horizontal line. How steep is that?
It's pretty steep.
It's a 0. It has no steepness. It's flat. All right, guys, but listen to me very carefully. It has no rise. There's no rise. It doesn't rise at all. It just stays flat. But what happens to the slope of a vertical line? If the slope of a horizontal line is 0, what is the slope of a vertical line? Have a good day. Bye-bye.